Apocalypse Chronicles Supplemental. I think I finally understand what Greezy Pete is trying to argue. I remember the first interview I saw of him talking about the Antichrist. I was surprised he was talking about it so openly. He was talking about it at all. He's one of the closest linked people to the Reich, getting a lot of welfare contracts. He's on the inside. And he was sitting there in all his greased face glory, and I'm sitting there wondering, and a lot of people are like, why is he so greasy looking? What the fuck what's wrong with him? That's a whole nother thing. This isn't about how he looks. Forgive me. And he was making a similar argument from the one in the video I just posted. I read you a long thing about Thale and his, he did another conference where you could buy like tickets, I think. And he was talking about the Antichrist and end times and stuff like that. Again, he feels the need to spread this gospel of his. And I'm going to explain to you what I think it is. And I can't believe it. I've kind of already said what it is. I kind of realized it in the video as I was reading it to you that I just made. And from his original interview, I forget who interviewed him. I think he may have had an association with the New York Times. I can't remember the man's name. And he did a great job, by the way. He got Pete all fucked up. So Pete was basically putting the same argument forth, but he just doesn't want to come right out and say it. He says it kind of quickly in kind of a weird way. He thinks there's a path, and I don't know if he really believes this or he's just saying this to you people in some effort to point you somewhere else. Maybe he does really believe it, because he's argued it several times. There's a path between the Antichrist and Armageddon. What he means is, his philosophy, what he's trying to achieve, from what he says, this is what I'm getting out of it. The Antichrist is a good thing. I guess maybe he'll preach that gospel because the Antichrist is his conduit, if he knows who it is, to this technocratic society. You're noticing even the Muslims use the word technocracy or technocratic. That came from the Leon Thale world. Understand that. And Donnie's claiming Mideast peace, not just peace between Israel and Gaza or Israel and Palestine. He's claiming Mideast peace. And we're going to rebuild the whole Mideast. That's the deal in the story that all the Bible teachers talk about over the years, even as, unfortunately, a lot of them, I'm sure, are MAGA and voted for this. Because, you know, most of the church votes are, unfortunately. But they were teaching the Bible before all this. And even though maybe in their head it was all the evil liberals that were going to do it all, and maybe they preached that to an extent, they were also giving their interpretations of prophecy based on, you know, what their teachers thought, years and years, decades, hundreds of years of interpretation. A lot of them went to school for it. Unfortunately, they have that bias in their head. And they probably equated it all to liberals, just like Alex Jones told them to, and everyone told them to, since 1945. They were wrong. And a lot of them were literally part of the movement. A lot of the church was, and Alex was. I understand that now. Alex was projecting what they were planned on doing to everyone. Who? The white supremacy movement that Alex is a part of. Dugan, Alex, Putin, Donnie, so many others. Margie. This is what they believe. Nazism, white supremacy, to different degrees. I understand Alex was always promoting the plan that they were going to execute if they got their chance. Alex helped fund J6, you know that, right? Paid for buses and all kinds of shit. Amongst others. Again, this projection, this inversion plan, it's been going on a long time. All the allegations were confessions. In other words, Alex Jones was part of this movement that planned on doing what he said the liberals were going to do. Do you hear me? It was projection. It was lies. It was the Hitler playbook. Point to the opposition and say they're going to do what they're going to do what we plan to do. But back to Thale, because this is the more important part. I think he's trying to really make an argument, and I also think he thinks that he can put a leash on the beast. That thing I've been saying no one can do. I have a feeling he believes that there's a path to Antichrist good, Armageddon bad, because then we all die. Jesus kills us all. That's the story. Jesus kills us all, and we go to hell. We go to the lake. That's the fucking story. So, of course Pete don't want Armageddon. He's one of the bad guys. Literally of the story that would be, according to the story, killed at the end by the divine Christ. I'm just telling you what the story says, man. Take it for what it is. Just being honest. So it really feels like when I think about what Pete was trying to say in his grease face original interview with the New York Times guy. I think he was an opinion writer or something. I don't know. I think and his argument I just gave you in the last video, that clip, I think Greasy Pete is trying to say, like, we got to find a way to have the Antichrist, but we keep a leash on the Antichrist so he doesn't lead us all into Armageddon. And we can do that because I'm Peter Thale from South Africa that grew up being taught Nazism, and I'm special. And I got a lot of money given to me by the American taxpayer. Leon thought that as well. That's why he had his little son in the Oval Office. You remember all that? It seems like so far away, doesn't it? When Leon had his little child in the Oval, told Donnie to get his fucking shine box, get him some juice. You're not president, fuck off. Remember all that? Seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? These people are that arrogant. The oligarchs of the world that saw tax cuts and deregulation and all the things they love. That's why they vote Republican every motherfucking time. Every goddamn one of them. I don't care what they say on television, son. Those people thought they could leash this thing. That's what I've also been saying in a lot of these videos before the election. For 10 years, no one can leash the beast. I've been saying for a long time. Unfortunately, the beast got back in power. And several people so far, and Greasy Pete's preaching that very gospel that I'm telling you cannot be done. Son, I've been saying it for 10 fucking years. I've been saying Donnie's the Antichrist. What does that mean? That means he's an Adolf Hitler. A bunch of rich guys, I guarantee, were drinking tea and eating crumpets or drinking beer or whatever, sitting around on their pile of gold. And they gave some to Hitler. And they were probably all sitting, yeah, we got Hitler under control. He's going to make us so much money, blah, blah, fucking blah. Same thing here, son. Leon thought he could do it. Where the fuck Leon now? He's still in the picture, don't worry. He doing his thing. That ain't good for us. But where the fuck Leon now? Greasy Pete, JD, and Leon tried to make their move. Remember that? Threw the Epstein shit out there on Donnie. Right on Twitter. And then Leon was like at the end of the message, hello, Donnie, hello, DJT, like some high school girl getting a jab in. Unbelievable. And that's what they are like. They're like high school girls. We've watched them how many times stab each other in the back. But everybody knew JD, Thale, and Leon had a little plan to take over at some point. And they still do. Leon obviously had the plan to be co-chancellor. That didn't work out so well. Donnie doesn't share power. Isn't that what Gandalf said in that movie? The Dark Lord, or whatever he called him. Sauron doesn't share power. The Dark Lord doesn't exactly. The beast cannot be leashed, and I said that 10 fucking years ago. This man has skated through everything. He staged a fucking coup on live television, son, and withheld help. And then when he finally left, he said, I'll help myself to 3,000 classified documents, please. Vlad needs those. Just put them in the shitter at Mar-a-Lago. We'll laser copy them all and send them over. You think I'm kidding? You think he took those as souvenirs, son? Oh my God, I hope not. Greatest traitor to this nation ever. And it's the fact that I hate his guts or don't like him is irrelevant. That's not why I'm saying it. You know why I'm saying it. I really think Greasy Pete, he must understand what Donnie is or who he is to be going out on his tours and giving these interviews of Greta Thunberg's the fucking Antichrist. As if Greta has any power. Come on, man. There are qualifications to be Antichrist. Do you understand that? That's why throughout the years when I watch people point to Obama, no, there's a criteria that must be met. And Donnie's met it all, man. Fucking scary. And we ain't done yet. But back to Pete again, I really think he thinks he can put a leash on the beast. And I think he knows who the beast is. Why else would he be doing these lectures on the Antichrist? Pointing you in the wrong direction. He must know, right? It's too coincidental. Wouldn't you say? I would. So in Pete's mind, or the gospel he's literally preaching, that's what I'm getting out of it, there's a path with the Antichrist that leads away from Armageddon. Armageddon's over here. It goes away with the Antichrist, the beast that Mr. Thale thinks he can control. Again, those rich dudes back in the day. In 1933, they're like, all right, Hitler's in. We're good. We got him in our back fucking pocket. The whole world was burning, son, by the time that fucking cunt shot himself. Do you hear me? He was the beast of the day, and not a motherfucker could control him. Turned on everybody. And if I was alive during his time, I would have thought he was the Antichrist. Guaranteed. He had all the ingredients of that era. And it was a somewhat modern era. Modern technology. I would have definitely thought he was the Antichrist. But with study of Bible prophecy, you understand that certain criteria must be met for the end to be achieved, like the temple being rebuilt. So Israel didn't even exist yet as a nation. That was prophesied as well in the book. I've heard many lessons on it. That Israel will become a nation again. Third temple would be built. A lot of teachers have taught from the establishment of Israel, I've told you this before, till the end is one generation. 70 years, 100 years, something like that. Under 100 years, peace deal, Gaza's ash, Donnie's head of the board of peace, all the Middle East will be rebuilt. That's incredible. Under a year again, U.S. troops on the ground. But again, I want to stick with this Greezy Pete thing. Because just how strange of a... I guess when you have that much money and privilege and they're just throwing billions of dollars at you, you get an ego. You get, oh, I can control anything, anyone. I am just the ultra magna executive, brilliant. I guess you get to that place where you never get told no when you got that kind of money. You're rich as fuck. You can buy buildings if you want to, you know what I mean? That's how much money you have. You could buy a building and not feel it, son. That's the kind of money I'm talking about. And we've watched it play out. Leon thought he could control this motherfucker. I mean, he used the Oval Office as babysit. You know what I mean? Like, that's how comfortable he was. That's how arrogant he was. And this is what I've been trying to tell you. This is the beast described in the story. If you've read the story, nothing can leash this motherfucker. There's a literal phrase that's so well known. Who can make war with the beast? Yet these arrogant cunts that have read the scripture, Leon, Thale, others, they think they can leash the beast. And Petey Thale thinks there's a path with the Antichrist to this technocratic utopian future where he gets to be in a body that he likes better than his. Do you hear me? And they're Nazis on top of it. Everything's based on a fucking fiction novel written by a Nazi scientist. I am not kidding. Do you hear me, son? This is their gospel. And Greezy Pete's gospel, what he's trying to preach, I'm pretty certain, is we have got to find that path. between the Antichrist and Armageddon. That's why peace is so vital. Because I want my technocratic utopia where I run a surveillance operation that you pay me for, straight welfare. I reap all the benefits. I get all the money, just in straight handouts. Don't got to work for it. Your money. And eventually we get to a place with the Antichrist and AI that I can take my consciousness and put it in a body that I like better. Does that sound crazy to you? That's what he's preaching, son. Do you hear me? That's why I'm talking to you right now. I'm so astounded by it. But we've watched it throughout time. Motherfuckers think they can control the beast of the day, whoever that is, Adolf Hitler, Nero, whatever. Same thing here. We've watched. Leon's a great example. Co-chancellor got a foot up the ass and get the fuck out. You thought you were going to take me out, son? I'm the most vile, crooked, evil, scheming, calculating, and I don't sleep. That's Donnie. That's the beast, man. And look, I'm just going to be honest. He has the blessing. You can't just make that go away. We learned that, or I learned that, from when Stauffenberg and the others tried to bomb Hitler. He survived that shit. I don't even think he was seriously injured. That's called, son, I know it's a hard concept to understand. It's hard for me to say. That's called having the blessing. That thing that went on back then, it was like it was just ordained to happen. Not that that's good, bad, whatever. It's just, it was ordained by something, probably Satan, to happen. And nothing was going to stop it. That's what you're in right now. And these guys, Leon already got burnt. So that's one richest man on earth thought he could leash the beast. That it was arrogance, his ego, and he's just like Donnie. He's the same thing as Donnie. He desires the same things. Worship, to be Caesar of the world. And him and his little son collect space taxes. His son blurted that the fuck out. I'm serious. You saw it, Leon's game character, the Pepe Frog in the Caesar outfit. Why would he use that character? Because that's the way he looks at himself. As Caesar. Well, he didn't get the blessing, son. He got the lesser blessing. And last time the co-chancellor took out the chancellor, this time the chancellor took out the co-chancellor. And again, Leon, Greasy Pete, and JD, they've always had a plan. Oh yeah, we'll just, bump Donnie out of there somehow. Maybe he'll just dementia. Maybe he'll croak. Maybe he'll get out in 4 years. We got a leash on him till then. For 10 years, I've been saying the same thing. I knew it then, and I really know it now. You cannot leash the beast. I don't fucking care who you are. Even Vlad's the last one that has any control over this motherfucker. Last one with a leash on him. I don't know how long Donnie's going to tolerate that. Because he has the power to snap that now. Easily. Got the American military. Russia ain't got jack shit for that. These other two, these oligarchs that don't have all the compromat on them, like Vlad does, they thought they had a leash on him. Greasy Pete still thinks he can keep a leash on him. I can tell. He's wrong. And he's literally, again, preaching the gospel. I want to really hammer this home. This man is so delusional and insane. He is preaching a gospel straight up that let's run with the Antichrist and technocracy because that's my fantasy. And we'll just make all the peace we can all over the place because we don't want to tilt in the direction of Armageddon. And I am the amazing divine Peter Thale, Greasy Pete in all my glory. And I can keep a leash on that orange motherfucker that no one else can keep a leash on except Vlad Putin. Only because of the compromat. Pete, that is ego, man. And Pete, I didn't grow up as a Nazi. I looked at the world for what it was. I didn't lean right or left or anything. I just looked at it for what it was. And I understood what liberal politics was, and I understood what conservative right-wing politics was. And I looked at Scripture without a biased eye saying, well, I know all liberals are evil because that's what I hear on Fox News and that's what the right-wing politicians tell me since 1945, so they must be the bad guys in the story, right? That's what my pastor says. Right, Rubes? I looked at it for what it was. And I had no idea who the Antichrist would be, when that would happen. And Pete, I hate to break it to you. Leon, Vlad, all of you. I hate to break it to you. You cannot leash the beast. And here's the real spoiler, Pete. With the Antichrist, with the apocalypse son, my greasy son, you cannot control him. It is written, therefore it will be. He has the blessing. You do not. You will not be able to control him. And here's the most important thing. It's not an either-or situation. You can't steer the Antichrist in the fucking direction you want him to go. Because you're the amazing divine Peter Thale. Impossible. It is written. So, class, Rubes, Greasy Pete, it's a package deal, son. You didn't get that from the book? You too, I don't know, blinded by the whole Nazi thing and the technocracy and transhumanism, and you didn't read the book, you didn't understand? You don't get a choice, Pete. We don't get a choice, Pete. When the Antichrist comes to power, guess what comes next, Pete? No matter how much money you have, no matter how much you turn Nazism and Satanism or whatever you fucking believe in into a religion, you cannot stop the inevitable, son. I'm glad Pete brought this up. Maybe it can learn you a lesson. Once the Antichrist comes to power, it's over. There's no getting him out of power. Do you see anyone rising up? Fuck no. Doing anything? Nope. I see reporters getting slammed on the ground and arrested. That's what I see. It's a package deal. Once that prophecy kicks in, begins, there is no going back. Pete, Leon, you don't know your master? You don't know your master, Satan? You don't know that's his anointed and you cannot control him? All that money, all that occult study. Maybe you should have, I don't know, studied more instead of practicing your Nazi salute in the mirror. When the Antichrist comes to power, what comes next is Armageddon. Inevitable. No one will stop it. That's another thing I've been trying to tell you, if this is the story, and it sure fucking seems like it is, that we're in it. No one's stopping it until the man stops it. That's the story. That's a grim story. That means a lot of suffering ahead that I ain't in the fucking mood for. I know that. But we ain't got no choice. We are not God. We can do nothing about it. It is written, it will be. I wish there was a way to stop it. I wish I could give you hope that there's a way to stop it. I'd love for someone to prove me wrong. I'd love to wake up one day and this is all over. I don't know how. I would love that. I don't have to be right to feel good about myself. I really don't. So Pete, class, and I want to be clear what gospel Pete's preaching again, because this is astounding to me. So I'm repeating it 8 times. His gospel is, well, we can run with the Antichrist and autocracy, technocracy, whatever. Transhumanism, technology will save us. And we can steer the Antichrist in a direction where we don't result in Armageddon. Pete is that arrogant. I guess when you have billions of dollars, you get like that, like I said, like Leon. Leon thought he had a leash. Now he's on the fucking outs. Got Donnie to the point where he said, again, if I take the welfare away, pack up and go back to South Africa. And Donnie was right. And Leon knew it, so I shut the fuck up. And again, don't forget it. Leon, JD, and Thale, they tried to make their move. And they failed. That's 2 very powerful people and a couch fucker. Richest man on earth, another very, very rich and powerful person with utter connections to the CIA. They couldn't take him out. They made their move. They might make another one at some point. Who knows? Biding their time. These people wait forever. Have you noticed that? Vlad, Donnie, Leon, Thale. They waiting forever. They stay the course, though, of evil. I can't believe how long this has been drawn out. Feels like a never-ending nightmare. Even when he wasn't president. That whole 4 years wondering, is this motherfucker actually going to get back in power after we watched him stage a coup on live fucking television? Yep. That's how dead America was. So is gospel one more time? Technocracy? Anyone who criticizes AI is of the devil. Technology is the way. The Antichrist is the way. We just have to avoid that pesky thing where we pay for our sins. Called Armageddon. That's the part of the story class. Many people gather on a great battlefield called Armageddon. And before that war really gets going, everyone assembles, I believe, is the way the story goes. Well, the man comes back. I guess if he didn't, the whole world would probably die or something. Maybe nuclear missiles are about to be launched. That's probably exactly what's about to happen. And he turns that battlefield, I assume it'll be like the greatest assembly for battle that ever was. That would make sense. He's going to turn that battlefield into a wine press, son. Do you hear me? The people that follow the Antichrist, that take the mark, all that bullshit, assemble on the battlefield. And then the man, and I call Jesus and God the Father the man. They're both the man. The man gonna turn it into a wine press. So I understand why Pete doesn't want to experience that part. That's the part where God the Father and Jesus Christ in the story, just telling you, son, relax. That's the part where God the Father and Jesus Christ say, no more. We're going to end this right now. And they have ultimate authority. They only allowing the devil to have this right now. For some reason, I ain't God. I don't fucking know. Maybe because man chose it. Probably because man chose it. So Christ comes back, turns that battlefield into a wine press. That's what Armageddon is. When they talk about it, that's how it ends. You know what a wine press is, right? Well, you could picture the old ladies getting in the vat of grapes and stomping them. Or maybe it could be some type of machine made out of wood or something. I don't know. That just crushes the grapes. And the story describes the blood is horse bridle high or something like that. Could you imagine? Hard to imagine, right? That's the story, son. That's the ending when Christ returns. Why does Pete want to avoid that part? I guess maybe his argument is, well, the destruction of Armageddon, no one wants that. Oh no, Pete, I know what part you don't want. The wine press part. I wouldn't want it either. That's why I ain't running with you, son. You get how that works? That's why I don't get contracts for $30 million for nothing. Welfare. And then go buy a mansion with it. Acting like I'm making profits. And then have my hand out for another one in 6 months. I don't want to end up in the wine press, Greasy Pete. I guess you do, by what side you've chosen. And Pete, I'm sorry. There's no way to avoid it. Again, if you would have actually taken in the scripture without bias, without hope, without allegiance to Satan, you would understand the Antichrist, his whole existence, leads, his destiny is Armageddon, son. Do you hear me? Plainly stated in scripture where all this goes. Pete, you should know this. You're not God, Pete. Your arrogance won't control him. Your money won't control him. It's impossible. No one can leash the beast. There is no separating the Antichrist from the path to Armageddon. It's impossible. They're a package fucking deal. So don't let Pete fool you that there's a way to run with Satan and the Antichrist that doesn't lead to the wine press, son. Because that's the only fucking place it leads. Unfortunately. I assume I'll be dead by then. By the grace of God. Because it ain't going to be pretty, that road to Armageddon, son. And I can't believe there's a, number 2 oligarch in the fucking world. Number 2 welfare queen next to Leon. If maybe Thale got more, I don't know. Out there preaching, we can run with the Antichrist and technocracy and transhumanism. And don't worry, I am the mighty Peter Thale and Leon and the couch fucker with eyeliner on. We gonna steer that motherfucker. Trust me. I'm an executive that gets welfare, damn it. That means I'm a genius. You see my bank account? That's all American taxpayer money. I'm sorry. I'm gonna steer him because I'm the great Peter Thale. He believes it, doesn't he? Leon believed it. Where's he at? A lot of people believed it. A lot of people believe they're on the team. Donnie throw them under the bus like they ain't shit. Over and over again. So I hate to break it to you, class, Rubes, Greasy, Pete, Leon already learned his lesson. And actually, Thale, Leon, and JD, the couch fucker, they learned their lesson too. They made a chess piece. They made a move. They got their shit knocked over. I hate to break it to you again. There is no separating the Antichrist from Armageddon. And I know you people that worship Satan and that are part of the Reich and you're making it all happen. It's all exciting and shit. I know you want to avoid that last part. I would too. That's why I'm not on your fucking team. Because that sounds horrific, son. Christ himself coming back, turning the battlefield to water. You know the man walked on water, right? He can do shit. Beyond this realm. And from what I'm seeing, the story playing out right before my fucking eyes. And we got motherfuckers that are so rich, so egotistical, so lost, that they think, and many thought, a long line of them, Leon was the last one to fall. Leash snapped. Thanks for the 260 million, asshole. Time to go. Nobody likes you. And there ain't room for these two egos, man, in this Reich. Not at the top, anyway. That's what happened. And then Greasy Pete, Leon, Thale made the move. They failed. But I have to finish this. I'm saying the same thing 9 times. Because I'm working it out as I'm telling you people. I'm thinking. Helps to say it out loud. And you get the benefit. I cannot stress this enough. A novice in hermeneutics or biblical prophecy understands that once you choose the Antichrist and he gets a foothold and he gets momentum and he gets his shit going, there's only one place it ends, son. That's why I said we all be crying. Do you hear me? It ends one place. That's where the story goes. The climax, if you will, of thousands of years. The man called Christ comes back, kills a lot of motherfuckers, makes an ocean of blood. Yeah, I'm thinking I don't want to be on the receiving end of that. And there's no avoiding it. They are a package deal, Armageddon, Antichrist. Unbreakable. It's his destiny and now it's all of ours. That great, horrible battle described at the end of the story. Greasy Pete thinks he can separate the Antichrist from his destiny and the destiny of history into Armageddon. That's the level of delusion and ego and God complex, actually, that some in the oligarchy, especially the South African ones, because that's where they grew up, Petey and Leon, they think they're just the greatest thing since sliced bread and they can control the beast. Again, a novice in scripture, biblical prophecy understands the beast is called the beast because you can't control it. No one can. No one can control Hitler. That's what we're dealing with. Someone with the blessing. All attempts will fail. You've watched some fail already, son. You've watched people try and make moves. They on the outs now. Richest man in the world. Leash snapped. Lasted a few months. Thanks, Leon. I just needed you to get me in. You fucking idiot. I'm the beast, motherfucker. And I don't care if you're the false prophet, fuck off. The beast has no allegiance to anyone. Uncontrollable. That's why he's called the beast. That's what the word indicates. You can't control a beast, son. That's what the word means. That's why they named him that. I always knew that. That's why I've been saying it out loud for 10 years, because I was proclaiming he was the Antichrist, so he's the beast. Uncontrollable, you can't leash him. And you can't avoid the destiny of the beast and the people who follow him. The abyss, Armageddon. It is written, son. It will. You cannot steer the Antichrist the way you want to. It only leads to Armageddon. And there's a reason why Leon and Greasy Pete and all, they don't like that part. That's the part where they lose and die and get thrown in a lake called the Lake of Fire. That's how the story goes. With the Antichrist, the devil, the false prophet. One of them gets a while longer. I think it's the devil. I can't remember. I don't understand why that happens, but whatever. I'm not God. So you know how it ends now. Greasy Pete don't like the ending. He thinks he's rich enough, strong enough to push Donnie or the Antichrist in the right direction. How do I know? Because he's going around giving lectures telling you Greta Thunberg's the Antichrist. That's why. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Pointing you this way when you need to be looking this way, son. He really believes it, like Leon did, that he can control the beast and avoid the judgment, the return of Christ, the winepress. It's horrifying, the description. And I wouldn't want to be the enemy of Christ, for fuck's sake. Would you? Like I said, the man walked on water. And from what I'm seeing, he must have really existed. Because his story, the proclamations of Christ, the only one worthy to open the seals, son, do you hear me? The only one worthy. So this part of his story too. The seals on the scrolls. And stuff like that. Only the lamb that was slain was worthy in the story. Only one. That entity will come back and winepress these motherfuckers. That's where it ends. And it's going to take a bit to get there. And it's going to enrage a lot of us, what we're going to have to go through and see. I'm not looking forward to it. Greasy Pete thinks we can avoid it. We can. Even with all the money in the world. It ends there. If we, in this story, if I'm right, if Donnie's who I say he is, and it's looking more and more like that every day, it ends on the battlefield. Armageddon. Inevitable. Package deal. You can't separate the two. The Antichrist is Armageddon, as Armageddon is the Antichrist. Pete's of Satan, and he wants to avoid that part. That's why he gives those lectures, preaches that gospel. He's really hoping to avoid that part. I don't blame you, Pete. Anyway, I gotta go.